So for step 26, attaching the front axles, well, we've got quite a few parts to grab for this one. So we've got our C5, C1, C2, same again on the other side. We've got our hubs, and then we've got our axles and quite a few hardware pieces to get as well. And then, of course, that second part, we're actually going to be attaching these hubs to that front suspension with screws, etc. So there is all the hardware that we're going to need for this step, along with these pieces. Now, I haven't taken them off the parts tree yet, because if you notice the way it is, C1, C2, they are pretty identical. Like that 1 and 2 are the same almost. So I'm going to not do that just so that I don't make any errors. So I'll set this up and let's put these together. So first off, let's get the ball connector into the hub. Now normally I would use a box wrench, but because these ones have the hex drive holes at the top, I'm not going to need to do that. So you can see with this one, we're going to need to get that into this side. Let's make sure that's going in as level as possible. Yeah, okay, let's screw this in. And again, don't over tighten it, but that's nicely in. I'll do one extra turn. It's done. So you can see that that would be that way. Well, for the reverse, we need it on this side. So this has to go here. So let's put that there and make sure that's going in level. Yes, okay, let's screw it in. Go all the way, and as soon as I feel resistance, I'm just stopping. Like, you don't need to go any farther than that, because again, you don't want to strip them out. So you can see that those two would be that way. So let's work on this side first. So you can see that we've got our main pin, and there's a C2 that has to go on there first. Now this is why I didn't want to take these off first, just so that it's not confusing. So if that is C2, we'll slide that on. Then it's going to be the the MA9 bearing, so the smaller one. That's going to go on there. Then we're going to put on the C1 piece. So let's snip this off of here. And we'll put the C1 piece on the other side. So it's essentially going to look like that, with all the different pieces on it. Then it's going to go into the hub, just like that. And on the other side, we're going to use the MC12. That bearing is going to go inside there, just like that. And then we're going to use one of these snap pins. Now the snap pins, the only reason they're there is to stop all of this from coming out, because we're going to obviously have a wheel there later, but they don't want this all falling apart, which makes total sense. So there is one of our hubs. So we'll put that aside. We're going to grab this one now. So we're doing everything in reverse. We need a pin, but it's going to be the C2 first. So we'll grab the other parts tree piece, snip this off. That's the C2. So we're going to grab our pin, slide on the C2, slide on our MA9 bearing, so the smaller one, slide that on. Then it's going to be the C1 piece. So again, go to C1, snip off that, and slide that on. And then that whole thing is going into the hub. Push it all the way through. It's nicely in place. We're going to grab our bigger bearing, the MC12, push that in, and then we're going to grab our pin, push that through, and lock it. so that it's there nice and smooth too. So those two hubs right there are finished. They are ready to go. So now we're going to move on to the second part of this step so that we can attach it to the chassis. So I'm going to move those pieces out of the way, but you can see here, let's grab the car. And I think what we'll do is let's do this side first. It might be easier to see from the angle of the camera. We're going to grab the MC2 screw. Then there is an MC13, which is this little metal spacer, which is going to go on there just like that. That is going to go up inside of here. So inside the metal space, yeah, up into that ball connector thing. We're going to use one of our king pins. That's got to go at the bottom. So I'm holding this down there on with my thumb, and that's awkward. I will do it this way. Slide that down there so that that sits there just like that. And then we're going to grab our hub. So we've got this hub here. That's got to be screwed into that side. So maybe what I'll do is let's actually do it this way. Make sure that's going in. And we're going to have to screw that down. So maybe, let me grab the screw driver. Make sure that is going in level. Yes, that's going in level. So we'll screw that all the way. And again, once there's resistance, you're going to stop. We're at the end. That's moving around actually really nicely. And then on the top, same idea. We've got the big screw. We've got the metal spacer. So we'll put that through there. That's going in through the top. Then we have the kingpin on the bottom. That's going to go through and then into the hub. So again, I don't know if I can, what's the easiest way to hold this in at the moment, but let's do it this way. Let's see if I can get it in this way. Yes, that's going in correctly. So let's just screw this all the way. And in fact, maybe I'll turn it around so that you can, no, that's awkward with the camera there. We're gonna do it this way. There we go. So there we go. There is one of our hubs in place. I have to say, this is super, super smooth. Very clean. Love it. So let's do the same thing with the other side. So again, with the other side, we're going to grab our screw, put on the metal spacer. That's going to go up from the bottom. And then we have the kingpin that's going to sit on top, just like that. And then we have our hub. So we're going to have to put that there. Well, I'm going to do it differently. It's hard doing it, figuring out the best way with the camera in the way, but we'll just make sure that I've got this right. Yes. That's now got to go in, up, and into there. So if I can get that correct with the screwdriver. Make sure that's going in correctly. Yes. Okay. Screw this all the way in. All right, we're at the end. So now we'll do the same thing with the top. So we've got the screw, we've got the spacer. That's going to go in at the top. We've got the kingpin that's got to slide over top of that and on, just like that. And then the hub. So we've got to make sure that goes in level and correct. So I'm just going to turn this around in the hopes that I can show this better from this angle, which I think I can. So again, let's grab this and stick that onto there. Okay, hopefully, let's get the screwdriver. Yes, and it's going in level. All the way to the end. There we go, that's in. So there we have that hub as well. So both of these now are on, and that feels really smooth. Now it does show popping these ball connectors on, and because I'd done all of the tests originally for, you know, the positioning, I think we will just pop them on. Let's see what we get here. So can I do this by hand? Yep. So there's one. Grab the other one. And there it is. So there we go. There is our front end with the steering arms attached. And again, this just feels very, very smooth. Pretty impressed with the design. And I like the sort of off-camber axles, because you notice that in terms of the positioning, rather than it be straight up and down, it's angled, which actually should offer a lot more protection on the suspension as well. But that really does feel very, very nice. Awesome. So that means that step 26 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 27 and start working on the front dampers, and we're into bag D.